Hey, good morning and good evening. I hope I'm doing this right. Just Michael in Texas, Jake coming at you, lounging after a day of some real good rest. I hope I look a little bit rested. Anyway, what I wanted to chat with you about, I do that for the eyes, um, is that I have recently rejoined one of these dating sites, and I would imagine that they would know where and what is going on there. So I'm not going to mention them. I just don't. I just don't want to do that. However, some of these dating sites, I'll say this: that they're from all over the world, international. They're from Ukraine. They could be just about from anywhere. And sometimes, because of what I got myself pulled into, I I elected to do this because I just think it's kind of rottenness. But as I learn so much about the many countries and things that are going on in particular places, there's a lot of people doing this sort of thing, and just trying to educate the public, let them know what's kind of going on, and maybe if it could prevent them from stepping in something, then that's to me a community service, or a service of it's like a Yelp service, only you're getting somebody's face, some other types of connections to it, maybe their feelings on how, or they're explaining their experience. And mine was, of course, COVID, bachelor. You're alone. You want to reach out and meet people, and it's a little bit more difficult today to do that unless it's in some form of fashion that's connected either to the internet and or to the telephone. So we highly depend on those electronics to connect with people. And then when you do, the fear and the social distancing is just makes it all the worse. But I never in my life went about having a LDR, they call that, which is abbreviated for long distance relationship. And that's really just trying to connect with somebody. And I would say that stuff like that it's easy if you can. It's like watching a TV show. You can get pulled in, or into a series, and it's never escaped my notice that as we do those sort of things, I don't care what kind of show it really is, if it comes on a regular basis, there's a lot of advertising and things of that sort that are associated with it. So it just kind of pulls you in and just keeps you glued, as it were. So before you know it, and some do and some don't, they just wake up and they, as the saying goes, smell the coffee, or the writing is on the wall, or you just see what it is for what it is, and it is a lot of it just fantasy. And I'm of the mind, talking to some of these newer ones, just in brief, it's just usually text form. Sometimes it's you can actually talk to them. I feel like I'm not looking at you. I'm looking to something else. I'm trying to move this around a little bit because I want to look straight at you. And I feel like I'm concentrating on a lens here. Hang on. Maybe if I turn it upside down, it'll look better. Look like I'm looking right in your eyes out there. Okay, well, I'm trying to anyway. My words, if not my eyes, will have to just suffice. Uh, I mean, when you watch these YouTube channels and you learn things that maybe are not familiar with you because you don't read about them, and they don't tell you on the news, but you see all these different people just popping up, and they got a new name or a new thing that they're doing. Uh, like, for one, is the red pill thing. I want to say this, you know, this is the order of things. Like it or not, it's just the way it is. If there is a God, and if you are familiar with His Word or in the Bible, and I don't want to bore you with all that because I don't want to sound like I'm trying to be too churchy, because knowledge is one thing, and then what I do with my life is another. And so I have stepped away for a minute. But sometimes you have to do that to get the whole picture. But from what I know, man was created and very bored with his life, maybe, even though he had as much as he had paradise, and he was watching the animals consummate and creating. And here he was, created from the image of God and made a creator himself. So, in his pining away for something like what the animals had, which was that ability, he was granted or given a woman, which was taken from his side by way of rib. Uh, this is the reed anyway. Okay, whether you believe it or not or have the faith to, it's up to you. But this is the reed and how that goes. And then Satan was actually just an angel that was to watch over the earth. That was his station. See, angels throughout heavens are, celestial places. They are given things to do and stay and watch over. And that was kind of like their job. But they, at many times, left their place. And in so doing, there's always a consequence. And that you'd have to read further into it, or the Nephilim came, or the angels left station, Tartarus, things like that. It gets pretty deep. But getting to my point is that when Eve, the female, who was the second to the man, took of the fruit because she was told that they wouldn't die. Now they, and of course she went along with that line of thinking. And then here's Adam, who's looking at her thinking, now, and he's enamored. She's perfect in all forms, body-wise. I mean, probably had smells in her hair and that were just unbelievable, if you could imagine a perfect female. However, she lured him over to that because after she partook, she didn't die, and that was the start of the lie. See, because if a day is 1,000 to God, then they didn't die that day or that second, but that was the line of thinking that was presented. So from then on, they were removed from anything and everything that they had and just put out there, and it's like, you got to work for it now. There's thorns and thistles out there. It's not going to be like it was before, to where we just get and don't have to do much anything but just live our lives. That would in fact be a paradise, but it's not reality, especially today. I wanted to talk about that. I did go back on there because this is it's kind of like almost like a forensic learning. You go back and forth and you learn and you see what's the story, what it's really all about. And my take on this, or I'm coming away from it, is that these are poorer countries than the United States in most cases. I'm not saying that the women are poor because it looks like some of them are very nicely dressed and they have quite a bit. But even if they did have that, or, the riches of the world, they would give you the impression that they do not. And that is not just happening or isolated in one country. It is probably in the poorer countries, but that is worldly. That is another global epidemic. I had met some that seemed like they were different, telling me that I'm different, than most that are out there, because they seem to have caught on long before me that those places, or for you show me yours and I'll do my thing and I give you a little coin and we go in that direction, or they just want the money and you're not going to get anything for it. It's like if you put your card in the ATM and it doesn't give you the money that you're asking for to provide you, So I came back on today to talk about that after yesterday, and even the nicest of ones, it's seemingly, I was asked for a load again from a lady from, I think she's from Peru or France, but and she's supposed to be a chef, because I was talking about things like that. And then when they want to go biblically, I know things about that. They can go cars, anything, and I'm going to know something about it, and enough to carry on an intelligent conversation. But what I'm recognizing is that, and maybe those that are looking at this for study purpose or whatever, to maybe even build off of this or piggyback off of it and give a talk on it. It is not rocket science, but the red pill is just so attractive. And I think that it is, maybe if Adam would have took the red pill and just, put the woman in her place, that maybe a lot of us could have just forewent all of this garbage. And I'm not bashing women, or, like the same sex. That's not my my thinking, or my feeling. But I am seeing that there's a lot of that, you know, need to take a red pill just to wise up and see what a lot of this is all about. Now, are there good ones out there, women? There probably are, but they're far and few between. In between ratios of, maybe 6 to 1, maybe 10 to 1. It could be, I don't know. I do a little bit of that homework, but I don't have charts or maps or to tell you where exactly these places are. But there's a lot more, it's more common female in those countries than it is. That's why it's like it is. That's why these guys are cheating. They get a wife, and then it's like 10 more coming out, female, that are younger or prettier, and then they're being lured again. Like I guess they call them simps. Instead of just looking at for what it is. It's like a creature. It's like a dog. I walk my dog every day. But it could be a horse, it could be a cow. And each one of those things, a bird, they're going to have different characteristics, needs, wants, and a female is that way too. So it's like going into that hypergamish thinking, as far as like some are content with just shelter and food, and love and compassion and caring, and helping them through those times where they're minstrel, or they're going through the flashes or whatever, and then their moods are spiking and going up and down. See, they don't know any of that. They know that it's happening, but they don't know why things shift. You know, and I think guys are we're the same in another respect. We go through that as well, and maybe it's just growth. And as far as finding committed relationships, and those that really want you as a person, they really can't get to know you that well. And that would probably be the best advice, is that to know. And the thing is that when you go to a country where there's restrictions, visas, paperwork, what is the likelihood that you're going to be there long enough to really get to know somebody's mind, their heart, their motives, their reasons for knowing you, wanting to know you better, etc. You're not going to have that opportunity, or the funds, or the visas, or whatever. I mean, it's just a lot more work than I think is goes into this than what I've ever even imagined. Now, my brother did it quickly. I don't think it's because he's smarter. I just think that the other one on the other end was just as aggressive about coming to the country and finding a good husband. So I think that that's what you have to find. And whether you're going there or she's coming here, you're not going to find that. And by way of argument with some of these in the Philippines that I had in text form, was that they were separated for 5 years, 10 years, 3 years, whatever. And they've got children, families, homes, jobs, whatever. And it's necessary for that country to remain strict on that policy, because it's as far as character goes, to have a wife and a husband, and I don't mean tyrannical husbands and bitchy wives. I mean people that are really just trying to just harmoniously get along. How beautiful is that? Because that was the intent of marriage for forever. And what it's turned into in a lot of countries, and in that what I'm talking about now, is that you just go to the next person and do whatever, but you stay married to that person, which is an island. If it becomes so inundated with just that, it's going to be just like people just like wild dogs that aren't, neutered. They're just all over the place, like the roosters crowing constantly. There's going to be a lot of hunger there in time, no contraceptive, but yet having a need, or even out of boredom or habit, or from watching the social media and what is, liked and wanted, and what can be sold and bought, which is dignity and pride and tradition. And that should never be anyone's tradition. And I think even in our country, you'll see little 5-year-old girls that are just twerking, and, they're 5, but they fantasize because they see it on the TV. And sometimes, whether it's they're seeing it from an adult or another child doing it, it's funny, it's entertainment, it's something that they're doing, and they're doing it they're doing it here. But in all, what I wanted to just say the most was that I'm surprised, but I shouldn't be. And that was is that some of them that I would just, even if I was selecting them, picking them, saying, oh, that one just wants this and that one wants that. Even those, if I just back away long enough to realize that really what they want is somebody that's they think is in a better position than them and that wants to pay for their phone time or their load on other sites or go see their bodies on other sites, giving credit cards, and just they're just really just trying to bag you and sack you. So what's happening as far as the red pill goes, and what's happening in the government, what's happening in the churches, is that there's a lack of trust. And it's because somebody is just magnifying what you would think is simply just, why can't you know me? And we do this without all that other stuff, And maybe there is some wisdom in, leaving thy mother and thy father and cleaving to your husband. There's some wisdom in that. Because when you have interference from all over the place in a relationship, then there's trust factors that they're gonna be destroyed. Because uncle so-and-so or sister so-and-so could do something dishonest. It'd be like in our country, if you got a brother or a sister that's either alcoholic, crackhead, or whatever, and not to knock anybody's preference and how they want to, numb themselves to just get by a day, in this world economy and in this world the way it behaves. You don't want them around you because they're going to take something from you. And you can't trust them, or you can't go to them and say, okay, look, if you're sick or you got a need. See, so it's really just, it's like panhandlers wanting you to pay for their habit. If you keep putting money in their hand, they're going to just keep doing what they're doing instead of trying to help them out or whatever. So, these women, it's really funny that they would even extend that to somebody without even knowing them at all, but they want your social, how many kids do you have, where do you live, what do you do for a living, and all they're really doing is sizing you up. It's like, say there was a barometer of sorts, and each time you have a talent, or they see your mind, or you talk, with, words that maybe they're not familiar with, they want to joke and kid and giggle and just get in your pocket. These are like little girls wanting to sit on your knee and then reach in your pocket because they really want, a chocolate bar or an ice cream. So it has nothing to do with all that other stuff that you would think that goes along with family and loving and caring, And if it does, it's rare, and it's becoming more rare, my friends. It's becoming more rare. We're going to be in trouble. This is nothing about going on vacation in another country. This is about, we should be able to vacation right in our own homes and where we live, and not so much, have to go somewhere else to try to find it only to get ripped off or asked for money. It's not like we got it good and they got it bad. Because there's those of us that live where we live, and we look at others too, and we can go, they got it good and we got it bad. It's like people in the shower that are trying to size one another up by, if you're in doubt, or if you're stacked, or if they're real, or if they're fake. It's kind of like that, it's like keeping up with the Joneses. It's like, but stay off of those lines, man. I do this kind of like for research a little bit, because I am looking for a special person that's, of my same thinking maybe, or we could learn from one another and good, but I don't want to in the end to be like, the Brutus, and where Julius Caesar was, looking at him going, et tu, Brute, as the Senate was stabbing him, he looks over at his brother-like friend, and et tu, Brute means, you too, Brutus? See? You too. And that wasn't yesterday. That's history. And history repeats itself. And you got to be careful out there. And don't be afraid to help somebody, but at the same time, to be Christ-like is this. Now, I don't want to be Christ-like and then somebody say, well, okay, Christ, let me in your pocket. But I'm going to say this, as Christ-like. He knew what they were doing. I know what they're doing. And it's for the reasons that they do it. And when he went around and he cured people, whether it was the woman with the flow of blood or it was the blind or the cripple, and then they still hung him to a stick, right? Roman torture. He was tried as a heretic when he came to help. That's how they treated him. See, so we're no different. We're not Christ. We're supposed to be Christ-like and forgive him. So I'm going to try to do that, and I'm going to try to understand, to get to the bottom of why is it that we live in a world that and have the capability to make it a paradise and a better place for all mankind to live and to love and to find husbands and wives, and instead we have to walk through the valley of death, of the shadow of death, right? I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, look out, my friend. Look out, because they're out there to get you. I feel sorry for them. I wish that they would come more honest and we could work on a solution instead of, keeping up this mess and then trying to, say something. It's hard to bottle it up, or to, just to hold it in. That I, everybody is expected to go through this. If the children of tomorrow are going to change this world, but we have to guide them, we have to make sure that we're doing that and not pointing them in a direction that's just going to cause them also to fall off as we have. We can't fail ourselves. We can't fail our children, our grandchildren. We have to make the world a better place for you and for me. Let's get it right. Quit all this garbage on these lines and trying to get in somebody's pocket. Quit trying to hurt and try to do something better. Make somebody feel good instead of hurting them. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And Michael and Texas Jake. Hey, Jake, say hello to all them crazy people and people just like me. All right. You guys take care. Do right. Be right. And watch out. Because he's a roaring lion, and he's out to get you.